Time for our Gillette Pressure Rankings.
For me, it was a self-imposed pressure.
Was I under pressure? No.
Yeah, they're under pressure. Everyone's under pressure.
OTB AM's Pressure Rankings with Gillette.
And the big pressure.
Nathan, you're under a bit of pressure this week because normally we'd have Owen doing these, and obviously he's young and funny and you're old and not funny. So how are you going to get on?
Oof. Harsh, Jer. Very harsh. I didn't realise that a comedic element was required for this. So you're right, I am under massive pressure now because I've just given you 5 names here and was just going to basically reel them off. So now I'm trying to come up with some jokes on the spot.
Go for it. I'm looking forward to this.
Kenny, you can help me out here.
Pressure,
Kenny.
Nathan.
So my Gillette pressure rankings for this week. Number 5, Leinster, Jer. Massive pressure ahead of the game against Saracens on Saturday. They've won 25 straight games. They can only bottle it from here. They're the best team in Europe by a country mile. Do not screw this up.
Spoken like a true Mayo man who, anytime he sees the opportunity for victory, automatically clutches defeat from its jaws.
Good comeback.
My obvious fear for Leinster is that they are now powered by a Mayo man. Absolutely powered by a Mayo man in Quayle and Doris. So I just hope that he can see this through. Leinster, as I said, 2 great teams in Ireland, Leinster and Leinster Reserves. But yeah, you got to go and finish the job. An unbeaten season, the pressure is going to start mounting.
Yeah.
So, Leinster, number 5.
Or glory, and they become the greatest Irish club team of all time. Number 4.
Phil Mickelson. It is US Open week, Ger. Winged foot. Phil Mickelson is playing in his 29th US Open this week. It is the only major championship he has never won. And this is the course where he came so close. He went down the 18th in 2006. Bogey would have got him a playoff. Double bogey. In one of the great major finishes where himself, Harrington, Monty all collapsed over the closing holes, and Jeff Ogilvy somehow held on. Mickelson will be the oldest ever major winner. He's over 50. He's playing Seniors Tour now when he feels like it. Played in the Safeway last night, where Stuart Sink won, who hadn't actually won since the 2009 Open Championship at Turnberry. But Phil Mickelson, can he finally do it? I've always felt maybe Mickelson's thing would be the oldest major champion. He's obviously never going to get near Tiger Woods in terms of number of major championships, but Phil just has something about him that can keep going to a old age. And we saw Tom Watson in 2009 contend when he was 59. So Phil has a bit to go yet. But the US Open is the one that has always caused some issues. 6 runners-up finishes for Phil Mickelson at the US Open. He's under pressure this week. He needs to win a US Open. I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Golf Weekly coming a day earlier this week, or is it still on Thursday?
Who knows? The great thing about Golf Weekly is it's weekly, but who knows when.
Okay.
And even then, maybe not even weekly.
Number 3.
Usually. Number 3, Persia Van Dyke. Under a bit of pressure. Liverpool have conceded 3 goals in each of their last 2 home games. And then you think about the match against Arsenal at the end of last season, where he also made a horrendous error. You want to be the best centre-half in the world, you got to start acting like the best centre-half in the world. And you can't go wandering around like you're king of the hill by making mistakes like that. Kenny Cunningham is going to hammer you every day of the week. So he just needs to calm things down a little bit. They got Chelsea next Sunday. It's our live game and off the ball. Chelsea, free scoring. What was it, 5-3 when they met at the end of last season? It's going to be an absolute cracker. Virgil van Dijk needs to calm the hell down.
Okay, Gary Breen is on our pressure rankings. Why is Gary Breen on our pressure rankings? People are unfamiliar with this story, Nathan.
Gary Breen is under massive pressure from Celtic supporters for 2 comments made on Saturday's Off the Ball. Firstly, about Shane Duffy, and Shane Duffy maybe taking a bit of a step down to go and play Scottish football, and well, maybe this might have a negative effect on the Irish national team. And also that not a single Scottish striker playing in the Scottish Premiership would get into a Premier League team. Celtic fans very unhappy, obviously pointing out Odsonne Edouard has been linked with many Premier League teams. And who is Gary Breen? That is what has been popping up on our Twitter feed more than anything else. Who is Gary Breen? Which is somewhat surprising, because all I ever hear about is this connection between Celtic and Ireland, this deep-rooted connection. I was even down in Ballymote in Sligo about a month ago, and there is this brilliant memorial to Brother Wilfrid. It's a beautiful thing. If you haven't been, it's probably the only reason to go to Ballymote in Sligo. But this is the connection that's there between Celtic and Ireland. Yet, Ireland legend Gary Breen makes some fairly harmless comments, and the Celtic supporters don't even know who he is, it seems. So where's the connection? Where's it all broken down? Thankfully, Gary isn't on social media, as far as I know, unless he has a burner account. But as far as I know, he's not on social media. So I think it's all water off a duck's back.
Kenny, do you have a burner account for when you say outrageous things you can check on how much crap you're getting?
You probably know the answer to that, Jerry. No, I don't. I find it very interesting. I actually find it very interesting the conversation about Shane and Celtic. It's a shame, really. It's kind of if it's ending up that way in terms of shouting and screaming. Who's Gary Breen?
It's just people on Twitter, and they're clowns.
Yeah, but we all want the same thing, don't we? Ourselves, Gary, Shane, we're all pushing the same direction in terms of success. Want the Ireland team to be successful. You heard how Gary how highly spoke about Shane Duffy, what he's done in his career so far. So I hope people don't use this as some kind of excuse to making it some kind of problem there between Gary, Shane, or Shane feels as if he's been dug out or held up to ridicule, because that's clearly not the case.
It was the opposite, I think.
Yeah.
One of Gary's other comments at the weekend, just to show what Twitter can be like around football. No, he was talking about Donny van de Beek, and he had the perfect pronunciation of Donny van de Beek, and said how excited he is to see him at Manchester United, having tracked his development at Ajax. And it was, wait a second, the Eredivisie isn't even on Sky anymore, so how could he be claiming to have tracked Donny van de Beek's development by watching a couple of Champions League games, ignoring the fact that Gary Breen, for about the last 5 years, has covered Eredivisie games all across Europe every single week. Yeah. This is the idiotic nature of what you're having to deal with.
Who is at number 1 in your pressure rankings this week, Nathan?
That's a great question. Hopefully the graphic will come up on screen, Ger, and I'll be able to tell you it is, of course, Jose Mourinho, who has thrown his players under the bus day one. Lazy. Is lazy the worst insult you can get as a footballer, Kenny?
Oh yeah, it's not far off. I've got to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a question your kind of professionalism, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Being lazy is one thing. Saying not quite match fit. I mean, that's not necessarily criticism of your mentality. That can just be a thing where he just physically hasn't been able to do the work. The time limit hasn't been sufficient. But lazy, that implies a lack of attitude, doesn't it? Kind of lack of professionalism on behalf of the players. So that's that hurts. That stings.
He's also going to be under pressure because, well, Spurs need to somehow improve this season and challenge for Champions League place, and there was no sign of it at all yesterday. And you get the sense Spurs fans knew this was coming. They're a little bit sick of it. Just on the laziness thing, Kenny, because, all right, Matt Doherty, it seemed he was going more with the lack of match fitness, whether he's blaming player or his own staff for that, I'm not sure. But a lot of people look at Matt Doherty's running style when he's trying to get back, and that he's not in a full-on sprint. He's not sweating buckets trying to get back. Can you have a full-on sprint but not look like you're on a full-on sprint, that you are just... Can you be moving at full speed without looking like you're moving at full speed?
No, I think that's part of your armoury as a defender. First of all, I'd say the relevance to me is the distance you've got to travel back. That comes into, we're talking about how high Matt's been asked to travel up the pitch, the distance between him and his centre back. You know, you surrender possession of the ball. Does he have to make 5 or 10 yards? Does he have to make 15 or 20 yards? That's a massive difference. Yeah, and physically being able to make up the ground consistently as well. Obviously, there's issues in terms of Matt's fitness. I understand that, so I'm not worried about that whatsoever. Probably more prevalent would be how Matt's been asked to play by Mourinho, how high a position he's been asked to take up. And if he's been asked to play 15, 20 yards in advance of his centre half, and they turn over possession, and Tottenham centre halves are getting exposed 1v1, you can't blame Matt Doherty. That comes down to the tactical setup of the team and what he's actually been asked to do. So they're kind of things that we're not quite privy to. But I mean, I wish I could move like Matt Doherty in around the opposition penalty box. I wish I had that kind of instinctive feel that he has in terms of positions to attack, decisions making, his combination play. The quality he has in the last third of the pitch is phenomenal. Yeah. He's almost got a centre forward's instincts for me at times when he travels into the opposition penalty. I've seen him arrive in the penalty box.
Stick him in the front
time in a row.
Come on, you're talking yourself into it. You know it's the right thing.
But what I'm saying, he's very unique. We should appreciate. I hate the fact we're not talking people down. It's a natural discussion for me. Yeah, in terms of strengths and weakness. But Matt's strengths in the last, I think, are unique. I don't remember an Irish player full back doing the things that he does in the opposition in the last third of the pitch. Quality delivery, coming on the inside, travelling into traffic, no problem. Right. That bit of confidence that he has, I think we should celebrate it.
Jose Mourinho, top of our Gillette Pressure Rankings for the week that's in it, and that is the end of your Gillette Pressure Rankings this week.
OTB AM's Pressure Rankings with Gillette.